Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Ashby from the Breakthrough Company. We help business owners and managers get the best from their business, their teams, and themselves. Let's talk about managing change. How can you be more persuasive without being pushy or sleazy or coercive? First thing is you've got to make your case. And obviously you've got to have the rational argument. But you've still got to persuade people who are skeptical. And that's less about argument and more about how persuasive you are. So it's less rational and more emotional. Now the good news is, persuasiveness is a skill that can be learned. Robert Cialdini is the big gun on persuasiveness, and he highlights the following practices. Number one, be more likable. Discover common interests, because that increases your trustworthiness, which increases your credibility when it comes to leading change. Make positive remarks about people's work, their attitudes, or anything else that's appropriate. Now, don't worry, you can be a whole lot more pleasant and a whole lot nicer before you even get close to being sleazy. The greater risk is that you actually constrain yourself from being a nicer person, from complimenting people for their work or for their attitudes. Next one is reciprocity. Simply put, you do someone a favour and you'll get it back. People feel obliged to respond in kind. Third one, social proof. People follow the lead of people who are similar to themselves. So in any change, you've got early adopters and at one end, and you've got resistors and cynics at the other. So among those early adopters, develop some champions, get their testimonials, get their kind of endorsement. Next one is around consistency. People tend to fulfill commitments that they've made in public. So once you've won their agreement, get it in writing. Don't do this too early, because it could be seen as coercive. Once you've got agreement, get them to send you an email confirming that. They will be more likely to live up to that commitment they make. Now, there are a couple of others worth mentioning. One of them is identity, and this is how people like us work. People like to belong, but they also act in ways that are consistent with who they think they are. Think about the personalities of the people who work with you and work out how best to pitch ideas in ways that are going to resonate with them. We use the neuroscience of teams, the driver, pioneer, integrator, guardian. And it's just a good way of working out, do people like data? Do they like the kind of new idea stuff? Do you pitch it around kind of group harmony, that kind of thing? So think about that. Think about the messages that are going to resonate with them. And the last one is repetition. I always say that around about the time you're sick of saying it, that's about the time people are finally hearing it, in fact, for the first time. I want to be clear, these tactics have been used by unscrupulous people for unethical purposes and continue to be. So really important that you distinguish between being mentally uncomfortable because you're just not used to an idea, and that's fine. But on the other hand, being more, let's call it spiritually uncomfortable or ethically uncomfortable because you're starting to feel like you're moving into coercion or manipulation. Now, I trust you to know the difference, and you need to trust yourself. It's one of those things that trust your instincts. If you really feel uncomfortable with something, and it's not just because it's new or it's because it's asking you to express yourself, it's because you're not comfortable with where you're taking somebody, trust your instincts. So practice something out of this. And look, to my way of thinking, why wouldn't you just practice being more persuasive right now by working at one of these practices? Why wait for a kind of big change program or whatever? And the important thing is to choose the one that represents the biggest challenge for you. Is that to work at being more likable? Is it doing people more favors? Finding champions, complimenting people on their attitude and progress, or getting commitment? Any of those are good. I think the one that's probably the most useful because it builds that trust capital is learning to be and practicing being more likable. I'm uploading a new video every week. If you like this content and you want some more, hit the subscribe button down below. To get notified when a new video is available, hit the bell button right next to the subscribe button. You'll get an email every time I upload. Hope to see you soon.